Okay, guys, here's our first page of the review packet. This is the honors the review packet. Number 1 is an explanation problem. I want you guys to do that on your own. You need to think about that. So I'm just going to skip right down to number 2. Number 2 says the angles of a triangle and the extended ratio of 7 to 8 to 15. That doesn't mean the angle measures are 7, 8, and 15, but if we can find the multiplier that gets them to their total, we'll multiply the same multiplier by the 7, the 8, and the 15 to get to our total. Well, let's take a look. Our ratio and our total. Well, we have our ratio. It's 7 to 8 to 15. The angles of a triangle. We know that the 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So what I was saying before is we know that if we multiply each of these values by some multiplier, they'll add up to 180. So we're going to have 7x plus 8x plus 15x equals our total, which is 180. Well, that's going to get us to 30x equals 180. If I divide both sides by 30, I get x equals 6. So x is our multiplier. It's telling us if we multiply each of these 3 things by 6, and if I do that, I'll get, 42, 48, and 90. Those are the actual angle measures. It just wants to know the measurement of our middle angle. Well, our middle angle is represented by this 8, and 8 times 6 is 48 degrees. So that's the measure of our medium angle. Number 3 says the ratios of the side lengths, BC to CA to BA, are 7 to 9 to 12. Solve for x. Well, we have BC, CA, and BA, and they're in the ratio of 7 to 9 to 12. That's what we know so far. Well, wait a minute. We actually know what BC, CA, and BA are. Well, BC has a length of 28. CA has a length of 6x. And BA has a length of 7x plus 6. Well, we want to solve for x. I'm going to take the 2 fractions that are easiest for me to use to solve. So I'm actually going to take these 2 right here. I only need the x once. So I'm going to use what I see there left. So I have 28 over 7 equals 6x over 9. Well, we can simplify this before we solve. 28 over the 7 is the same as 4 over 1. So now when I cross multiply, I have 6x equals 36. That means that x is going to have to equal 6. Okay, let's keep going. Number 4 says, find the scale factor and then solve for AC and ED. Well, let's put together what we know. We know that AB, based on this similarity statement, the first 2 letters go with these 2 first letters, goes with DE. We know that BC goes with EC, and we know that AC goes with DC. Okay, and what we know, well, AB has a length of 10. DE has a length of, so AB, DE has a length of unknown. BC has a length of 20. EC has a length of 16. AC has a length that we don't know yet. DC is a length of 12. Well, to find our scale factor, we're going to use the only one that has numbers in it. Well, that's going to be 20 over 16. Well, if I simplify 20 over 16, I get 5 over 4. So my scale factor is 5 over 4. And I always want to put the number on top that goes with the first one listed. So I do these over these. This is the bigger triangle, so the bigger number over the smaller number. Okay, well, now we're going to solve for AC. To solve for AC, I'm going to take these 2 because I know both the values here. I need to solve for AC. So I have 5 over 4 equals AC over 12. If I cross multiply, I get 4AC equals 60. That means AC has to have a value of 15. Well, to solve for, I'm going to look at this side. So I'm going to have 10 over DE is equal to 5 over 4. If I cross multiply, I get 5 DE equals 40. And if I divide both sides by 5, I get the ED or DE is equal to 8. Okay, number 5 says, given that triangle ABC is similar to GEO, and the lengths below, write an extended proportion, then solve for x. Well, let's start with our extended proportion. Based on this here, we know AB, the first 2 letters go with GE. The second 2 letters go with the second 2 letters, and then the first and the last letter goes with the first and the last letter. Well, now let's plug in what we know. AB is 12. GE is 100. BC is 15. EO is x. AC is 20. Oh, and we don't know what GO is, but that's okay because all we need to do, so here's our extended proportion up here. All we need to do is solve for x. Well, I'm just going to use these ones to solve for x. So if I cross multiply, I'm going to get 12x equals 1500. Well, that's a bit of a doozy to solve, but we can, oopsie, sorry guys, you can't see. Sorry, let me go back again, sorry. So there's our extended proportion. I plugged everything in that I know. I'm sorry if you guys missed that. We need to solve for x. So I'm going to use just what we need in order to solve for x. Now I could have simplified this first. That would have made things a lot easier, but we're just going to simplify by hand now. I'm going to divide both of these sides by 3. If I divide this by 3, I get 4. If I divide this by 3, I'm going to get 500. So now I have 4x equals 500. It's getting a lot nicer already. Well, if I divide this by 2 and this by 2, okay, so now I have 2x equals 250. I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 125 centimeters. Okay, let's go over to number 6. Well, we need to start by lining things up. You notice we have 2 triangles. Here's my first triangle, ABE. And we want to see how this compares to my big triangle here. Okay, well, if I'm going to do my similarity statement, A is a shared angle for both triangles, so A has to match up with A in both. E has one arc marked there. That's going to match up with C. So since E is the last letter, C needs to be the last letter. So that means D and B are going to have to be the ones that match up. So now we're going to complete the extended proportion. Well, now I know AB goes with AD, BE goes with DC, AE goes with AC. Now we have to solve for AB. So let's start plugging things in. A has an unknown length. Well, that's what we're solving for. AD has a length of 12. It's that whole side here together. That's 12. BE is unknown. DC is unknown. AE is 5. AC is AB and BC together. That's X plus 4. So I'm going to change this AB to X now that I've plugged that in. So now what I need to do is cross multiply. So that's what I'm going to do here. When I do that, I get X times X plus 4 equals 60, or 12 times 5. So that's going to be X squared plus 4X equals 60. Now I told my class in class that you guys are not going to have to factor on the test, but it is something we're going to start practicing. We're going to practice it right now. As soon as I have X squared plus an X and a coefficient, we know we're going to have to factor, which means we need to get everything onto one side of my equation. Okay. Now I'm looking for 2 numbers that add to 4 but multiply to negative 60. And I've already done this, so I'm just going to show you guys what I have. Actually, I have to review really fast. Okay, so 60 is the same as 6 times 10, right? So let me show you this really fast. 10 plus negative 6, those two add up to a positive 4. 10 times negative 6 multiplies to a negative 60. We'll practice this more, but you'll see this. Now remember, the things that solve this is what makes each of these things 0. So what makes this factor 0? Well, x equals negative 10 makes this 0. X, a value of 6, makes this 0. Well, that doesn't make sense. We can't have a length of negative 10. So our final answer is just x equals 6. So you won't have to do that on the test. But we do need to start practicing factoring. So there's the first page. Let's go on to the second page now. We're going to start solving for x. Well, the best thing to do is start matching up the sides that go together. Well, 9 is between 1 arcs and 2 arcs. 4 is between 1 arc and 2 arcs, so they go together. X is between no arc and 2. 6 is between no arc and 2. So now I'm going to cross multiply. I get 4x equals 54. And if I divide both sides by 4, oh dear. If we divide this by 2, we get 27. So if I divide that by 2 again, because 4 is just 2 times 2, you get 27 over 2, or 13.5. Both of those are exact answers, so either of them are fine. B, okay, well we have vertical angles here. I know that 8 is going to go with 12, because it's between my right angle and my 1 arc, right angle and 1 arc. 10 is between 1 arc and no arcs. X is between 1 arc and no arc. So we're never going to use that 6. That was just there as extra information. So when I cross multiply, I get 8x equals 120. I need to divide both sides by 8, but before I do that, I'm going to do a little simplifying. Well, I know that if I divide this by 4, I get 2, and if I divide this by 4, I'm going to get 30. Now it's a lot easier to solve. So 2x equals 30. That means x is going to equal 15. Okay, C. Well, as soon as I have these parallel lines, that tells us I'm going to have alternate interior angles. So this and this are congruent because of the alternate interior angles theorem. Since 3 is between one arc and two arcs, and x is between one arc and two arcs, they go together. 5 is between one arc and no arcs. 8 is between one arc and no arc. So now I can cross multiply. I get 5x equals 24. And you can leave your final answer either as 24 over 5, or you could realize, okay, well, 5 goes into 24 times. Then I have 4/5 left over. That's the same as 4.8. Okay, D, we could do a couple of different ways. Because I have parallel lines, I could normally do this over this equals this over this, but we have to do the whole triangle. So notice this is the whole side of the small triangle, whole bottom of the small triangle. This is the whole side of the big triangle, whole bottom of the big triangle. So now I'm going to cross multiply. So if I cross, I get 42 equals 5 times 7 plus 7x. That gives me 42 equals 35 plus 7x. Oopsies, lies. 35x. Got to make sure I'm distributing. I'm going to subtract 35 onto this side, so I'm going to get 7 equals 35x. And if I divide both sides by 35, oh, I'm running out of room. I'm going to get x equals 7 over 35. Well, I can take a 7 out of 7 one time, a 7 out of 35 5 times. So my final answer here is x equals 1/5. Okay, E, the first thing you should notice is that this is in inches. These are in feet. We need to get to that same unit. Well, it'll be much easier if we do. Otherwise, well, yeah, we'll just get in the same unit. So 60 inches is the same as 5 feet. You could have also turned those into inches, but I find this easier. I want to have smaller numbers. So I'm going to do whole side over whole side equals whole side over whole side. It's going to give me 7x equals 40, so x equals 40 over 7. Because you're dividing by 7, and it's a prime number, this isn't going to divide it evenly. It's going to be a nasty fraction, so I'm going to leave it just like that. Okay. Over here, there's a couple ways you can set this up. Because these are parallel lines, we know they are because of the converse of the corresponding angles postulate. Because the corresponding angles are the same, we can say that 6 over x is the same as 4.5 over 5.7. So why don't I set it up like that for the first time? Okay. When I cross multiply, that's going to give me 4.5x equals, okay, well, 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 7 is 42. So 6 times 0.7 is going to be 4.2. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. It's 30. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so if I divide both sides, I'm going to get x equals 34.5 over, sorry guys, 4.5. Oh my goodness, sorry guys, I am struggling here. So if you're going to divide those, at minimum, you need to get rid of that decimal and those fractions. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. That would be 342 over 45. Now, if I look at this, I can check and see if they're divisible by anything in common. Well, that has a 2. This is divisible by 2. This is not. This is divisible by 5. This is not. If I add these up, 3 plus 4 plus 2, that's 9. That means this is divisible by 3. This is also divisible by 3. So if I take a 3 out of this, I'm going to get 114. If I take a 3 out of this, I'm going to have 15. Okay, they're still divisible by 3. So now we're at this. If I take 3 out of this, I will have 5 left over. If I take 3 out of this, I'm going to have 38. Okay, so our final answer for this problem, that was a bit of a 8 over 5. Or if you wanted to leave it, 3 goes into 35 7 times, and then we have 3 over 5 left over. So either of those would work. Okay, let's keep going. It says list 3 ways to prove that 2 triangles are similar, where my 3 options are SSS similarity, SAS similarity, or angle-angle similarity. Let's see if we can check these really fast. So this is going to be, the only option is SSS, because we have 3 sides marked here, 3 sides marked here, but we need to check to make sure that they actually all simplify to the same ratio, which means that they'd be proportional. Well, just by looking at this, I can tell, okay, well, this is going to simplify to 1/2. None of those are going to simplify to 1/2. So are they similar? No. Why? If I asked you for a reason, because they failed SSS similarity. Okay, B, we've already talked about this earlier in 7C, but there's vertical angles. Because my lines are parallel, my alternate interior angles will be congruent. So are these similar? Yes, they're going to be similar by AA similarity. Okay, number 3. This could be SAS. We just don't know yet, but I'm going to line up the sides that go together. 2 is smaller than 3. 4 is smaller than 5. So 4 is going to go here. 5 is going to go there. Well, I think you can tell by looking at this, this will also simplify to 1 over 2, but that will not simplify. So are these similar? No, they failed SAS similarity. Okay, D. Well, there's a shared angle here. Notice that angle B is going to be a part of this triangle here, and angle B is also going to be a part of this triangle here. So there's that shared angle. So I have 1A. So if I can do SAS, we'll be in good shape. And we have 2 sets of sides. So let's fill this in really fast. I'm going to do this red side here, the height, with the yellow height. I'm going to do the red base. Let's see if this simplifies. Well, 7 goes into this 3 times. 7 goes into this 5 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 24 8 times. Well, since they don't simplify to the same ratio, are they similar? No, we failed SAS. Okay, let's look at this. The only possible option is SSS, so I'm going to line up from smallest to largest. 16.